सान्द्रानन्दावबोधात्मकमनुपमितं कालदेशावदिभ्या निर्मुक्तं नित्यमुक्तं निगमशतसहस्रेण निर्भास्यमानम् अस्पष्टं दृष्टमात्रे पुनः उरुपुरुषार्थात्मकं ब्रह्मतत्त्वं तत्तावत् भाति साक्षात् गुरुपवनपुरे हन्त भाग्यं जनानाम् अग्रे पश्यामि तेजो निबिडतरकला यावली लोभनीयं पीयूषाप्लावितोऽहं तदुतरे दिव्यकैशोरवेशं तारुण्यारम्भरम्यं परमसुखरसास्वाद रोमाञ्चिताङ्गैः आवीतं नारदाद्यैः विलसदुपनिषत् सुन्दरी मण्डलैश्च
Gurupavanapure Hantabhagyam Janana. Namaskaram to all the Astikas. We did see that under the goodwill of Uddhava, direction of Brihaspati, and the prowess of Vayu, the Divyamangala Vigraha of Krishna, worshipped by Krishna himself for generations, was carried after the deluge in Dwaraka off the coast of Gujarat to a beautiful hamlet very close to the city of Thrissur in Kerala. We did see that Sakshat Maheshwara, Mahadeva and Parvati allocated a piece of land. I generally say on a lighter vein. Krishna is never devoid of his characteristics. He was known for his naughtiness, mischief, a very, very active avatar. So much so that on a lighter vein I keep telling, he was given a small piece of land by Shiva in Mammiyur, and slowly he encroached the entire city and called it with his name, which is Guruvayur and Guruvayurappan. So Krishna has always been stealing away land. No, stealing our hearts and minds. So he's that kind of a thief who can steal our minds and hearts with all his exploits and pastimes. That's it. We did see that this kshetram is very important for good health. So isn't that true of any devata? Isn't that true that Bhagavan, wherever, however form he is, he does bestow good health upon his children? Very true. Vaidyo Narayano Harihi. The greatest physician, bishop known in Sanatana Dharma is Sakshat Bhagavan himself. Yes, he is the greatest doctor. Oh, does he carry a stethoscope? Does he carry a thermometer? He doesn't do anything of this. He just looks at his devotee. His grace is enough to cure us. That's it. When it is said that he is the general doctor, why concentrate on Guruvayur? We have seen with incidents in the past that Guruvayur has been a kshetram which has specifically bestowed good health on the devotees. Not that other kshetrams don't bestow, and not that Guruvayur doesn't bestow other things. It does bestow other things along with good health. So why is this kshetram especially mentioned for good health? There is a reason. Krishna's last years, when the deluge happened, then he commanded Uddhava to carry the Vigraham through the help of Brihaspati and Vayu further down, and they came to Kerala. Around the same period happened an incident which we have seen where Parikshit, the son of Abhimanyu, was to be killed by Drona. Draunyaastra viplushtam idam madangam santara bijam kurupandavanam Jugopakukshim Gatiyatta Chakraha Matuschameya Sharanam Gatayaha. Uttara, the mother who was carrying the fetus in her womb, and followed by her mother-in-law Subhadra, Subhadra's co-wife called Draupadi, and Draupadi and Subhadra's mother-in-law Kunti. Kunti Kunti's two daughters-in-law, Subhadra and Draupadi, and Subhadra's daughter-in-law, called as Uttara, all four women sought the intervention of Krishna when they knew that Drona's son Droni, Ashwathama, was to shoot a Brahmastra, Apandavastra Prayogam on the carrying fetus. That is when Krishna is believed to have been the Vishnurata who went around the child, protecting the child. The child was born, Mahabharata says, akin to a log of wood or a piece of stone, absolutely motionless and not even emanating a single cry. That is when an ethereal voice, an Ashariri Vakyam, said that a person who suffices two conditions: one, who has always spoken the truth; second, who has been a brahmachari, who has followed brahmacharyam. If that person who suffices both the condition touches this child shall come back to life. Finally, Krishna touched. Yadine brahmacharyam syat satyam chamavyahatam yena jivatu balakaha, he said. And this child came back to life. This child who was protected by Krishna while he was in his womb, this child who was protected by Krishna when he came out of the womb, was called Parikshit. We must have heard at the commencement of Bhāgavatam that Parikshit Maharaja, when he was born, his father was not there because Abhimanyu died at Mahabharata Yuddham in Chakravyuham. So this particular understanding is that Parikshit, he went on a hunting spree. When he went on a hunting spree, it is said that Kali Purusha had occupied his mind, which means he had a very disturbed mind. He saw a rishi and asked him for water. The rishi, being in pure meditation, did not offer him water. He was still meditating. Perturbed by this rishi's very, very rude, cruel behavior, Parikshit saw a dead snake lying on the ground. He took his arrow, lifted the dead snake, and garlanded it around the rishi's neck. The rishi was still unmoved. He was in meditation. This particular incident was witnessed by the rishi's son's friend. This boy goes and complains to the Rishi Kumara that your father is being humiliated by the king called as Parikshit. You seem to be extremely happy. That is when the Rishi Kumara took some waters and pronounced a curse on Parikshit. Since you have garlanded a dead snake around my father's neck for no mistake of his, you shall die in the end of 7 days from now, bitten by a snake called Takshaka. And this curse became very well known. People knew. That is when Parikshit goes by the banks of river Ganga, sits to listen to the narration by Shuka Brahmam, the son of Vyasacharya, and this compilation of Parikshit's questions and Shuka Brahmam's answers becomes Srimad Bhāgavata Mahapurana. And of course, towards the end of 7 days, Parikshit does die with the bite of Takshaka. Now, eventually, Parikshit's wife delivers a son, like how Uttara's son Parikshit was born, and when he was born, his father Abhimanyu was not there. Janamejaya, who was born to Parikshit, couldn't see his father Parikshit. That is when a group of rishis went to Janamejaya and said that you are talking so much. Don't you know that your father didn't die a natural death? What is that unnatural death? That is when Janamejaya gets to know that his father was killed by the bite of a snake. That moment he gets very perturbed and he says, I shall ensure that there will be no more snakes on this earth, and first of all, Takshaka should die. Takshakena mahindrendra yena te himsitah pita tasmai prati kurushvatvam pannagaya duratmane as anyasmin akarani yetu karye parthiva sattama balyadivanya devatavam kurushe nripasattama. So, there was a lot of commotion as to what will be the future step of Janamejaya. Janamejaya performed a yagam called as Sarpasatram. This satra, this yaga, was meant to kill the snakes in the world, of course, mainly targeted at Takshaka. Why did the snakes, all the snakes in this world, have to suffer this pain? That is something that we need to understand. In Sri Mahabharatam, in Adi Parva, at the commencement itself, it is said that Kashyapa had wives. One of them was called as Kadru. The other was called Vinat. Kadru had nurtured snakes as her children, Vinata the birds as her children. At one point in time, Kadru wanted to win over Vinata. So she wanted to make Vinata subservient to her, a bonded labor, a slave to her. She devised a plan when Kadru and Vinata were watching a horse galloping from one end to the other. The challenge that was laid between the two women was if the horse was completely white in color, or was it a white horse with a black tail? Kadru said this is a white horse with a black tail, whereas Vinata said it is a white horse completely. So whoever wins the challenge should see the other person serving her, was the challenge. That night, Kadru goes to the cave where the dark-hued snakes of hers, which she nurtured as her children, were there. She tells them, you will have to go and coil yourself around each strand of the horse's tail hair, so that it looks dark from a distance and so that she could win over her co-wife called Vinata. The snakes oppose. They kind of tell through their body language that this is not right. It is not right to dupe somebody through such malicious means. That is when Kadru gets extremely worried. She gets angry. She said, I have been nurturing and feeding you all, and when I command you to do so, like a son who would follow his mother's words, so should you all be. But you've gone against me. So I curse here. Sarpasatre vartamane pavakova pradakshati janamejayasya rajarshehe pandaveyasya dhimataha. When one person called Janamejaya, who comes in the lineage of Pandu, shall be perturbed, he will perform a yagam to kill many of you in your clan. Wait for that day, she cursed. So Kadru's curse to the snakes had to bear fruit today when Janamejaya wanted to avenge the death of his father Parikshit by killing the snakes. So he performed the yagam called Sarpasatram, and all snakes, I would generally say on a lighter vein, from all national parks started flowing towards the Yajna Kundam and started falling into the fire, and they were all dead. While snakes started falling and getting into the blazing fire, Janamejaya's objective was to see a particular snake that had caused the death of his father called Takshaka. Father called Janamejaya threw a snake called Takshaka dead. So how did he know where Takshaka is? He asked his Purohita, his Swami who's performing the yagam, where is Takshaka? Takshaka has not fallen. That is when the Purohita says, Takshaka has sought asylum in Indra. Hey Indra, please protect me. And when you say some few words, a few lines of nice praise towards Indra, Indra gets very impressed, and he said, I will give you asylum. So on the throne where Indra is seated, around the legs, Takshaka has coiled, and Indra is patting and trying to caress the snake, saying that don't worry, I am there for you. So Takshaka is under the guardianship of Indra. That is when Janamejaya thought for some time and wondered what I should be doing. He said, O Purohita, all this while you said Takshaka come down and fall into the fire, he did. Now say, Indra along with Takshaka, let him come and fall into the fire. The moment that mantra stating that Indra with Takshaka should fall into the fire was pronounced, Indra got extremely worried that he will die. He immediately said, Takshaka, leave, I can't give you asylum anymore. So Takshaka was about to fall, but a rishi came and stopped and said, this is not right. What did the rishi say? Did Janamejaya stop the Sarpasatram, the yagam? And what happened to Janamejaya after that? And what does Janamejaya have to do with Guruvalyur? More in the next episode.
कल्याणरूपाय कलौ जनानां कल्याणदात्रे करुणासुधाब्दे कंवादिदिव्यायुधसत्कराय वातालयाधीश नमो नमस्ते नारायण 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 नारायण